Welcome, fellow seekers, artists, and cosmic wanderers. Today we embark on a journey into the depths of the collective unconscious to explore the intersection between UFOs, religion, and the post-secular age. Today we will unravel the threads woven by the great Carl Jung, who dared to delve into the mysteries of flying saucers and the profound implications they hold for our modern consciousness. UFO talk is back in full swing, like it hasn't been since the end of the post-war period. We've got stuff going on like government bigwigs in Congress doing hearings on the subject. And as highlighted by religious studies professor Dr. Diana Pasulka in her book American Cosmic, over half of American adults, as well as more than 75% of young Americans, express belief in extraterrestrial life. A growing belief system on par with that in God. But here's the kicker, the mainstream media is still pretty all over the place with this, from raised eyebrows to outright dismissal of the phenomenon. What they're missing though is pretty crucial. The profound impact of myths, collective rumors, stories, and archetypes on our culture and destiny. Around 2 millennia ago, a story emerged from our collective psyche. A tale of a child born in Bethlehem, destined to redeem humanity and serve as its savior. The advent of Christianity at year zero marked a profound shift in human consciousness at the dawn of the age of Pisces. Now, you don't need to be a true believer in the story of Christ to acknowledge that the birth of the archetype of the Savior had a profound impact, ushering in a new era in our civilization. The story of Christ marked a turning point in our conscious evolution. Fast forward to our current secular age, we confidently assert having outgrown the need for a savior. We're masters of our own destiny now, liberated from superstition and dogma. But is that really true? As the dawning age of Aquarius unfolds, new celestial visions and enigmatic rumors swirl across the firmament. Once again, the UFO captivates our imagination, becoming a canvas for our collective projections of apocalypse, salvation, and redemption. In these visionary times, just like in the era preceding Christ's birth, when wise men observed celestial movements to anticipate a turning epoch, we find ourselves on the cusp of a new myth emerging from the collective unconscious. These narratives are as real as the impacts they have on the world. They actively shape us, just as the story of a child in Bethlehem shaped the course of 2,000 years of human history. To dismiss the UFO phenomenon entirely is to ignore the profound impact it may have on the shape that our collective psyche takes in the coming centuries. Just like the Magi, who, guided by the stars, bestowed gifts to honor the symbol of the new aeon on the first Christmas, we too are called to pay attention. This is not a call for belief or disbelief, but an invitation to keenly observe the current moment. Artists, mystics, and seekers of all stripes must consider the psycho-spiritual significance surrounding UFO-related images, symbolism, visionary rumors, and phenomenon. Why, you ask? Well, just as those who initially dismissed the stories of a child in Bethlehem found themselves witnessing the rise of Christianity, it would be equally as imprudent for modern observers with open eyes and open minds to dismiss the UFO phenomenon, the birth of a new myth that will have a profound impact on the development of our modern consciousness. I've harbored interest in UFOs for quite some time, though I've been hesitant to openly discuss it. This hesitation doesn't just stem from the usual dismissive attitudes and skepticism that it often attracts, but also because conversations surrounding it inevitably devolve into arguments about its reality or its unreality. My focus isn't on proving or disproving the phenomenon, but rather delving into the psychological content that it evokes, and what it reveals about our collective unconscious. For those who appreciate the subjective aspects of culture, whether you're a creative spirit, a writer, an artist, or part of the tech world, My advice is to steer clear of fruitless arguments. Instead, direct your attention towards the celestial theatre, because a new era is unfolding. Carl Jung recognized this in 1958 when he penned his essay, Flying Saucers, a modern myth of things seen in the sky. Beyond being a scientist, psychiatrist, and philosopher, Jung was an occultist who plumbed the depths of our times. In the 1950s, a period marked by post-war recovery, technological leaps like the atom bomb, and the imminent possibility of space travel, Jung took a bold step, risking his scientific reputation to write about the UFO phenomenon. As UFO sightings, lore, and mythology spread like wildfire during the late 50s and early 60s, culminating in the famous Roswell incident and reports from military and nuclear bases worldwide, Jung saw the flying saucer as the visionary rumor of the moment. Jung's decision to speak out was fueled by his role as a magi, a seer, and a healer. Amidst the acceleration of that era, Jung perceived the flying saucer as a symbol of the turning of a new Platonic month, signifying a shift into the age of Aquarius. This perspective draws from ancient cosmological systems like Hermeticism, Greek cosmology, and even Native American cosmology, where different aeons are governed by different gods or planets. From a psychological standpoint, Jung interpreted this as the assertion of different archetypal forces in the collective unconscious.
You're entering a world of pain.
Setting aside all the astrological talk, Jung had a serious fear that our secular paradigm, coupled with our disconnection from the unconscious, transpersonal experience and symbolism, would leave those of us navigating these transformative times without the tools or the psychological know-how to confront the mysterious UFO image. Jung's personal stance on the reality of UFOs was personally nuanced. Despite his skepticism, he found many accounts and the collected reports of his time compelling and hard to dismiss. This parallels the present situation, where government officials openly discuss the UFO phenomenon in Congress, grappling with its enigmatic movements, violation of our laws of physics, and the stir it causes with feelings of the unknown. Jung too was awed by this phenomenon, acknowledging its important psychic component, regardless of its tangible physical basis. Jung approached the flying saucer more like a philosopher and a phenomenologist than a material scientist. Jung was intrigued by its strange, unknown, and contradictory nature. As a psychiatrist, he recognized that such an object, like nothing else, triggers conscious and unconscious fantasies, speculations, fabrications, and even entire mythological frameworks. Jung proposed 3 hypotheses for what might occur when the human psyche encounters the image of the UFO. Number 1, the flying saucer as a primary fantasy exists in the unconscious, invading the conscious mind with illusions and visions. An archetype in the unconscious, creating a corresponding vision. Number 2, an objectively real physical process forming the basis of an accompanying myth, where a real phenomenon such as a meteor shower or a spaceship from Mars becomes the target of projections that manifest as a myth. Number 3, the synchronistic hypothesis, an acausal meaningful coincidence, especially tied to phenomena connected to archetypal psychic processes, similar to what's going on in the series Evangelion. As a psychiatrist, Jung felt unqualified to contribute meaningfully to the question of the physical reality of UFOs. His focus was on their undeniable psychic aspect. In this video, just like Jung, I will be exploring the UFO phenomenon in a similar manner. Distinguishing themselves from ordinary rumors, visionary rumors take shape as visions and owe their origins to visions. Visionary encounters act as the driving force behind the endurance of visionary rumors. Jung approached the rumors surrounding the flying saucer from a psychiatric perspective, and he viewed them as manifestations of psychic processes. Rumors are typically incredible, and they fly in the face of all of our assumptions about the physical world. Most people's first reaction to hearing a rumor is usually negative or outright rejection. We typically assume that rumors are based in fantasy, and we have a tendency to also think the people who report them are a little bit crazy. This was just as true in ancient times as it is in our modern-day American media-saturated landscape. After all, most UFO rumors come from America, the land of science fiction and Hollywood. Visionary rumors are different from the ordinary rumors that thrive on popular curiosity and sensationalism. Visionary rumors usually find their roots in an unusual emotion surfacing in the collective psyche. The intensification of this emotion into visions and sensory delusions stems from a deeper source, as exemplified by the War of the Worlds radio drama in 1938. During this famous broadcast, panic erupted as people interpreted the alien invasion as real, resulting in stampedes and reported visions of invaders descending from the sky. Jung saw this incident as a tangible example of mass hysteria fueled by visionary rumors, acting as a psychological precursor to the imminent Second World War. Similarly, in our contemporary era, marked by escalating global conflicts and rapid technological advancements, the UFO archetype has re-emerged, capturing the collective psyche's attention. In the post-war period when Jung wrote his Flying Saucers essay, the extraterrestrial invasion motif proliferated in the collective unconscious, coinciding with profound technological leaps, including the development of atomic physics and the possibility of space travel. UFOs were initially perceived as machines, controlled by intelligent beings from outer space, equipped with superior technological abilities that allowed for weightless behavior and physics-bending agility. Despite their power, the view of UFOs in the 1950s and 60s was less paranoid. They were seen as curious travelers, observing humanity. Many visionary rumors from that period emanated from US airfields and atomic installations, attracting the attention of unidentified flying objects. During the dawn of the atomic age, a prevalent rumor suggested that the development of atomic physics and nuclear fission had unsettled neighboring planets, necessitating a survey from the air. This belief fostered a sense of being watched, observed, and spied upon from space. Official recognition of this theory grew increasingly popular in the establishment and led to the founding of bureaus for collecting and evaluating relevant observations in the US, Great Britain, and many other countries, forming the basis of modern UFO law. These visionary rumors, along with sightings, contribute to the diverse narratives surrounding UFOs, from the Roswell incident to their association with nuclear sites. Their mysterious movements and the stories we tell about their intentions. Our projections onto UFOs range from malevolent fantasies of destruction and colonization to benevolent visions of highly evolved, ethically and spiritually superior beings capable of saving humanity. If one were to confidently assert that UFOs don't exist, it would reduce them to a set of mistaken observations and conclusions infused with subjective psycho-assumptions. However, if the phenomenon involves psychic projection, then there must be a psychological cause. A global phenomenon like the UFO legend requires a corresponding narrative that spans the world and links to the entire collective unconscious. Visionary rumors in the collective unconscious may rise from various outward circumstances, but are rooted in an omnipresent emotional foundation, a psychological situation common to all of humanity. Historical examples include the collective visions reported by crusaders during the Siege of Jerusalem, or the troops at the Mons in the First World War. The basis for such rumors is emotional tension, often arising from a collective situation of danger or distress, or a vital psychological need. Just as in individuals, abnormal convictions, visions, and illusions emerge when there is a split between the conscious attitudes and opposing unconscious contents, psychic dissociation. Witnesses who share UFO stories are often the least inclined or prepared to have these sorts of experiences, often defying their reputation for imagination. People like random farmers and US government officials. These aren't exactly the most imaginative people out there. This phenomenon reflects the collective unconscious, resorting to incredibly drastic measures in order to have its contents perceived in our modern secular mechanized age, where spirituality and symbolism have waned. In desperate attempt to be perceived, the unconscious relies on projection, extrapolating its contents onto an object, revealing what was previously hidden. This projection process is ubiquitous. We engage in it all the time. You can observe it in all of our mental illusions, paranoid ideas of persecution, political propaganda, and everyday personal and collective projections. As Jung aptly put it, in the threatening situation of the world today, where people are beginning to see that everything is at stake, the projection-creating fantasy soars beyond the realm of earthly organizations and powers into the heavens, where the rulers of human fate, the gods, once had their abode in the planets. Even people who would never have thought a religious problem could be a serious matter that could concern them personally are beginning to ask themselves fundamental questions. I constantly emphasize this idea that we're entering the post-secular age, and this is even the premise behind the book that I'm currently working on for Repeater Books. The UFO phenomenon is just yet another significant indicator of it. Whether we embrace it or not, this occurrence is forcing us to answer some very fundamental questions that are rising up from our unconscious. Questions that our current secular paradigm has attempted to suppress and evade. Questions about our origin and the existence of destiny and more are projected into the lore surrounding UFOs. The rumors about their activities around nuclear sites have spawned a rich narrative suggesting that these mysterious beings are concerned about our well-being. Since the Second World War, UFO sightings have seen an exponential rise. In this challenging and dark period for humanity, a miraculous tale is emerging, similar to 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem, a narrative of attempted extraterrestrial intervention in human affairs and salvation by heavenly powers has once again invaded our psyches, precisely when humanity, having conquered space travel, is directing its ambitions further and further out into the solar system. The UFO phenomenon has transformed into a living myth, giving us the golden opportunity to observe how legends are born. While we are conscious of our ambitions to conquer space, there exists a corresponding extraterrestrial tendency that is purely mythological, a projection. Motives like sensationalism, love of adventure, technological audacity, and intellectual curiosity may seem sufficient for futuristic fantasies. Still, the impulse to spin these fantasies, particularly when they take serious or fantastical forms, originates from an underlying cause, a situation of distress within the collective unconscious, and a vital need that accompanies it. Fears of the Earth becoming too small, the threat of the atom bomb, and environmental degradation create anxiety. Unable to find solutions through external or conventional means, we look to the heavens for answers. Thus, signs appear in the heavens, featuring superior beings in spaceships, crafted by our technological fantasies. From an unconscious fear not fully understood, explanatory projections arise, attempting to attribute causes to various secondary phenomena, no matter how unfathomable. While UFOs were once rare curiosities in earlier centuries, only giving rise to local rumors, the universal mass rumor is a product of our enlightened rationalistic age. Widespread fantasies about the world's destruction at the end of the first millennium were metaphysical and required no UFOs to seem rational to the people of that period. Heaven's intervention aligned with the zeitgeist of that period, a sentiment no longer consistent with the thinking of our rationalistic age. In our current secular materialist paradigm, public opinion would not readily accept a metaphysical act, as it does not align with the prevailing mindset. Instead, we may lean more towards considering psychiatric disturbances, especially given our collective psychic state, which has been increasingly dire since World War II. Even historians are finding it increasingly challenging to make sense of the unfolding world. And conventional historical techniques are proving inadequate. Scholars across disciplines are acknowledging that psychological and psychopathological factors are broadening the horizons of historical, cultural, and political analysis. As we gaze into the heavens, witnessing the birth of a modern myth, let us not dismiss the UFO phenomenon. It is a golden opportunity to observe how collective projections manifest, and how our post-secular age is grappling with the unknown. Stay curious, friends, for the cosmos whispers tales that resonate with the deepest levels of our psyche. Join me for part 2 of this video, where we'll plunge into an incredibly deep exploration of what the UFO disc actually signifies. Brace yourself for an incredibly esoteric journey ahead. In part 2, I'm going to delve into the mesmerizing and numinous symbolism that Jung unveils in the UFO disc. In part 2, we're going to discover the awe-inspiring and hopeful, but at times terrifying vision that it ignites for humanity. To stay in the loop for the upcoming video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you're interested in early access to part 2 or additional content, feel free to join me on Patreon. All links are in the description. I'm wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas, and if you're able this holiday season, I highly recommend venturing out into the darkness and gazing up at the stars.